it, break it, pass out.
Welcome back to another episode of the Clear to Close podcast. My name is Ricardo Carrillo, your host, and I'm joined today by two friends of mine who have been in the real estate trenches for the last couple of years. We have pretty much made it out of the mud, and we're still here, and that's one of the most important things that I wanted to talk with them about today. But they have built a massive real estate team here in Northern California, and they've seen the ups and the downs over the last couple of years. Really, I want to highlight what they've seen, the differences of things that are working, what wasn't working before, what's actually working now, what are they seeing that's operating differently, and how they're promoting their real estate agents for more growth. So I'm joined today by Chris and James. Thank you guys. You guys are the owners of the Rise Group real estate team here in NorCal. And I think we're gonna have a lot of fun stuff to talk about today.
Well, real estate's always fun, right?
Yeah. It's our
Until
favorite.
not.
Yeah, until it's not. It's our favorite thing to talk about. We could talk about it all day, every day. And we're even talking about it. Today's not James' birthday, but we're gonna say it's your birthday today. So we're talking about it on your birthday.
Happy birthday, James.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I feel like the introduction is such a key part of the podcast. You crushed that.
Thank you.
So that was awesome.
I appreciate
There
that.
you go, man.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, one of the things that it's kind of interesting for me being on a flip side, because for those of you who want to go back through the depths of YouTube, you guys can find our old podcast episode that we did a couple of years back when I was first starting off in the industry. And so I really want to talk about like what things that we experienced back in 2022 and 2023 that were happening then that either aren't happening now or are just operating differently that you guys are seeing. Because I think that's one of the biggest things that I want us to highlight is what are we seeing differently? What's working? What are you guys noticing with agents? And really, how is everything changing?
Yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting that you say that you were new back then because it didn't seem like it. We did one deal together, and so that deal went really well, and it didn't seem like you were newer to the industry back then. So it's cool that we're coming back. I'm trying to think about where we were back then and what the difference was.
Try to forget.
Yeah.
That's
That-
true.
I mean,
Yeah,
it was a tough couple of years. It was definitely
did-
tough.
yeah. That was back in what I think like 2022 or 2023.
End of 2023 is kind of when everything kind of started getting
Yeah,
a
so
little wonky.
the market was definitely a lot different back then, and we were newer as well. So we started Rise Group. I mean, I've been licensed since 2015, Strange since
2012.
2012. So, but he was with a couple different places, including Compass. I was with Windermere for a while, and we didn't come together until 2021. So our team, the Rise Group, was newer at that time, and we were kind of just like ambitious, and we entered a market that was really active. Obviously, interest rates were a lot lower. There was just a lot of activity in the market, and so we were entering at a time where things were really exciting, different challenges, but definitely more of an active time. And we hadn't we weren't really prepared, I would say, or we didn't really know what was to come when it comes to the changes that were going to happen in the market. So, I mean, back then we were just trying to
Keep up.
keep
Yeah.
up. We were so busy with just so many different leads, and you were basically just out showing, and it was a different market because you were seeing so many offers on each property, so you were having to show because if you weren't showing, you'd have to put out like several offers because each property was just getting multiple offers over asking
Yeah.
on contingent, and so your clients were losing out on a lot of their offers unless they were really putting in aggressive offers, competitive offers. And so because of that, you had to really be clear and spend time with the clients that you knew were going to be able to close, because you can easily spin your tires and just keep getting your offers rejected, and then they fatigue out, and then now you're kind of back in a position of having to start over. And so yeah, we had so many different clients, we had to really pick and choose who we were going to spend the most time with, and we were just out showing.
Yeah, we were in the online lead business, and we still are, right? And so the identifying who's hot, who's ready to transact was always the key, right? And so just because the volume of leads that were coming in during that COVID time, right? And so coming out of that COVID time, it was it's hard to really build really good foundations to your business because you're just out there just doing the thing, right? And
Yeah.
so that was where we were at. Like today's business is not that. It's like to like James's compliment to you, like how you felt, like it was just your confidence level in the business. Not all agents had that confidence level. It's just you're too busy transacting and too busy moving and navigating through the business that sometimes our clients they couldn't tell that there wasn't a whole lot of understanding and confidence
I
behind
see.
what you were doing.
Yeah.
And so now, fast forward to 2026, a lot of those agents who now when we're slow enough where agent or clients are able to check out our skill sets and want to know what our skill sets are, found out that, oh wow, so so now it's more skilled, uh it's a more skilled agent, lender,
This
that's
what's
kind of in the
needed.
business today. Yeah.
Yeah. But we also saw we also saw a massive decrease in the amount of people who held a
Yeah.
license though, right? If we compared it from 2022 to today, both real estate agents as well as loan officer licenses are down by like over 70%. I think it's some crazy
Mhm.
statistic that's there's I think less than 90,000 loan officers that are left in the entire US with a license currently, and it was because it became a lot harder to maintain business, and people who got their real estate license during COVID got the real estate license because friends and family wanted to do stuff or people were being active and people that they knew. And then what happens when everybody gets a 3% interest rate and no one else is buying anymore
Mhm.
Yeah.
2 years later?
Mhm.
Yeah, I know, like, back then, the name of the game was just recruiting for a lot of teams and brokerages. That's when, like, the EXP and the, Reels of the
Real.
world, I feel
Yep.
like we're kind of getting a lot of traction because so many people were getting their real estate license, and it was really easy. I shouldn't say easy, but it wasn't as difficult to just come across transactions because the interest rates were so low and people were just, a lot of people were transacting. So you can get your license today and,
And
you know,
fall into 6 figures.
yeah,
Yeah.
tomorrow,
Yeah.
right? And I saw it happen for a lot of people, and then once interest rates started going up, it really, at least from my perspective, paused the business. And I kind of remember those times, and we're like thinking, oh, it's just going to be a short term. Interest rates are going up; they're going to start coming down, and that's when we started saying like, marry the house, date the rate type of situation that became popular,
Yep.
and interest rate buy downs became a thing where those were never a thing.
That's right.
And we thought it was just gonna be, like, I guess the optimist in me thought it was just gonna be like a quick, it's not gonna last that long, it'll be a couple months, but it was pretty brutal,
Yeah.
because interest rates were going up so quickly, and a lot of our clients just, like, it just paused, and it didn't matter. We kinda tried to buy our way out of that slump. Okay, let's do more marketing, let's do more leads, we were just like, let's do more and more and more to try to bring in the business, and it felt like no matter what we did, it just didn't matter.
Mm.
Sometimes the market just trumps all.
Mm.
So that's what it kind of felt like, as we were going into that new market with interest rates going up, and it definitely shifted the dynamic of our team. A lot of agents were getting, um, like, what's the word? Like,
Just run out of the business, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just they just couldn't transact. They were just weren't making any money. So there was just not when it comes time to renew your dues and everything, right? It's yeah, it's a hard look in the mirror and saying, "Am I doing this again?"
Yeah.
And so
It
yeah,
was interesting. I saw a couple agents that were actually doing well, like doing really well, that saw the writing on the walls and are just like, I don't want to ride this out. And we're either really smart or really stupid, but we don't really have
A
a
little
plan
crazy,
B.
maybe.
Yeah, maybe crazy. We didn't really have a plan B, so we just kept it going. And there's some things I would have done differently. At least I think I would have done differently because like I said, we tried to like kind of buy our way out of it and just pay money, put more money in. That just ate up our cash like really fast, and so that was definitely an interesting time and a difficult time.
Yeah.
So we lost some agents, and we ended up getting really thin again,
mhm,
and we were kind of
really did.
looking at each other, like, all right, like, what do we do? Like, a lot of our agents were moving on. Some of them left the business. Some of the things that we were offering weren't really working, and so I didn't really, you can't blame people for not fully sticking around if there's no fruit,
Yeah.
So
Because when we started in 2021, I mean, that's just when the market really took off, right? And so
Mhm.
from, James and I coming together and starting Rise Group Company, uh, foundationally, like we just really didn't have time to really lay that good foundation because we were just like into transactions right away. So we were blessed with that. But then again, too, we quickly realized that um, there was nothing to build on right now because it was all just pure. Now that the cash is gone,
Yeah.
and that marketing didn't work because we didn't have the right skill set of our agent because we never had really time to really kind of slow down and give them, teach them the tools that we're trying to give them. So that was a big lesson learned for us was, all right, so how do we go out and regrow the business? Because we went from like 30 agents down to 5 or 7 agents like
Yeah.
really quick, right? And so um
Well, what did you notice about those? Because that's including you guys, but in total, that group of agents who did stick through it, like what was the difference with them and their discipline and consistency? Because I would argue that those are probably the two most important skill sets that were either developed or sharpened during that time
mhm.
that the other agents might have not had.
I would say, first of all, at that time, me and Chris were probably the majority of the business already.
Okay.
So we were able to kind of still keep the lights on because we were still transacting the most. So the scales were a little bit tilted towards us. So
Yeah.
that's one part of it. The other part of it, I think, is the reason we were able to keep going is because we don't really have a plan B. This is it. Like we could, but we
Plan
just
A.
believe in real estate so much. And I think that's a part of it because I believe that you don't op- you operate, we all operate from belief systems, right? So if you're going through pain in an industry, like it's going to test your belief system. Like, do you truly believe in the industry? And I
Yeah.
think it just shows that we truly just do believe in the industry. And so we just stuck to it. So part of it was us just continuing to believe and continuing to push through. And then the other agents, it has to be the same, right? Like they must just not have a plan B. Like they believe in the industry,
Yeah.
they believed in us, and they probably saw that, hey, it's just a tough time. We don't really need to be looking anywhere else. We need to just, we believe in them and just stay on the course and keep it pushing. So I and shout out to even like Blaine Johnson. Blaine Johnson stuck with us, and he was definitely hitting a hot streak during that time, and he was definitely another one of our just early on people that stuck with us and was really just like believing in the industry, believing in us, and that he really helped us get through that time too. So
That's dope.
yeah,
I didn't get to talk to him since the last time that we did the pod, but I remember him having great energy.
yeah,
So
Oh yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of energy.
Yeah, his clients love him, and he brings it. Yeah, he's a coach at heart, and he's definitely he's our hype guy for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we love having him in the
Yeah.
office.
That's great. Hell yeah. Um I mean, I guess even then for you two, because you two were the ones closing the majority of the deals, like in the actual skill set of keeping that discipline and keeping that consistency, what kept you guys driving? Like what internally besides your clients' motivation to want to continue to pour into it and then eventually now bringing in more agents, right? Because that's ultimately the goal now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for us is it was okay. We had the weight of the company like on our backs in terms of just okay, we got to produce, right? We got to keep the lights on, like James said,
Yeah.
and but we had learned what we did and what didn't work when it comes to it really just came to the foundation of the
I
building we
see.
were trying to build. So when we were okay, we're gonna double down on our tech. We're gonna double down on the lead generation that we're coming in and just hyper focus on those things, right? That just ensure that our agents are using the tools, and know how to use the tools, and then knowing how to convert those opportunities that are coming in front of us, right? And so I think if we just kept it simple, we just we went in, we doubled down on our core tenants. We really got focused on just how we're branding, how we're marketing, how we're training, and just really stayed focused on that. We meet every single week, just kind of talking about just those specific things, and just kind of just pushing the boulder up the hill just a little bit at a time. And so I think with that, that just it continue just to allow us to really get good at the overall yeah, we just continue to continue the foundation building up, and that gave us the confidence to continue to now, okay, cool. And so now that we have something good, now we're trial testing with the crew that we have, and they're starting to show success again in the business.
Yeah.
It's still in a tougher market, right?
Of course.
And now, okay, cool, now we have the confidence level to recruit and just know that what we're offering from an opportunity standpoint, from a tech and training, that we were absolutely able to deliver on
Mm.
that. And so that's what gave us confidence to kind of grow back to where we're at right now.
Yeah, I think what happened was is that when we realized that it wasn't just going to be like a short,
Window.
interest window, like interest rate hike,
Yeah.
and we started to realize that we were kind of burning through cash, and so we really had to say, okay, what do we truly need? What do we have to dial back on? We had to get a little thin on personnel, which kind of sucked, and
Yeah.
we did end up deciding that to make the move to Walnut Creek during that time because we that's where we really wanted to be, and we said, hey, if we want the best chance of this, and we really want to be in a place where it's attractive for people to come meet because Walnut Creek's so central to where we
Totally.
serve. And so we're like, okay, we just have to do that. Let's make that move. Let's get thin on some of our expenses, really look at what we have. And because it was slower, it really gave us a chance to like kind of dial it all back and really like focus on, okay, who are we? What's our mission? What do we offer? What are our core tenets? And so we actually came together and we were actually able to build some of that foundational stuff that we weren't able to build in the beginning because we were so
Of
busy.
course. Yeah.
And that gave us a lot of clarity. It allowed us to understand roles and responsibilities. It allowed us to get clear and understand like what we were offering. So we knew what we were selling. What we were,
Makes sense.
hey, this is what we offer. Is this going to help? Will this help you? Basically. And so that allowed us to start bringing in talent again. Because we were just clear on what we offer.
I want to talk a little bit about that because one of the things that I notice with both newer agents and newer loan officers is that a lot of people will get their license thinking that they can do things part time,
Mm.
when we both know that you have to be fully in it 80 plus hours, but you have to also want to treat it like a business, like you were just describing right now, that you treated it like a business to create the core values for the business, to understand the direction of how you were going to support people, who's the avatar that you're going after, how do you want to deliver your client experience, how do you want to deliver your agent partner experience or your other strategic partner experiences. What was that process like for you guys that you noticed that new agents now aren't doing?
Well, I would say that just getting clear was so important. We're like Chris says it all the time. Well, first of all, I always say like even full-time agents make part-time money in this business. So,
So,
being part-time is hard.
yeah,
And then we're the most sold to business. So it's easy to get distracted with, especially with social media. This team is doing this, they're offering this, they're offering this.
that's a good
And
point.
so it's easy. We get sold to so much and we see so much. It's easy to get distracted with this new shiny thing. And if you don't have your core tenants and your mission statement and things like that, it's so easy to just want to do everything. And so when you can like take a second and slow down and build that, then it allows you to say no to some things
Yeah,
and just be clear. So I think, we can't be everything to everybody. We have to, pick what we are really passionate and good at offering, and we have to build around that and then put out messaging for that so that the agents that want that can come to us. And so I feel like it's the same thing as an agent, right? Like I feel like we're so tempted as agents because we want the business and we want to just be able to be successful that we're just saying, okay, we'll work with anybody,
yeah,
right? I'll go anywhere, I'll work with anybody. And that was me for a long time. And what I'm realizing is like as I get more experience, the smaller my radius gets, like I don't want to go that far. I want to work with a specific person because that allows me to put out clear messaging so that the people that I truly want to serve are attracted to my messaging rather than just saying I'm a real estate agent. It's just not clear enough. Being able to get
too
clear
broad.
and saying this is who I want to work with and put out that messaging consistently is what just starts to bring more of the type of business that you want to do.
I say that marketing is the hardest part of this business, right?
Hmm.
It is like, I mean, serving our clients, like showing up, and educating them, going over office strategies, going over loan scenarios, whatever. That's kind of like where we truly like we understand how to do that.
Of
That's what's
course.
kind of in our DNA, right? But going out and finding those people that need our help is the hardest part. So if you figure out you can how you market yourself in a way that really drives you, it's gratifying to your soul, like through social, through online leads, like however you want to be able to track those people and get passionate about it. So what excites me is when an agent early in their career understands what who their ideal client is, right?
Makes
And
sense.
how do I touch them? So when that light bulb goes off in their head, you have to, like, as a new agent, or if you're trying to re-engage yourself into your business and really try to give this a go, you have to like find out how am I going to love to market myself? How am I
Mhm.
going to love to show up? And once you identify that, then everything else becomes easy because then we're having more opportunities and we're showing up where we show up best, which is in front of our clients, right? And
Yeah.
so I think when I see a younger agent invest in themselves, when they put together a budget for like their social
Nice.
budget, or they're buying online leads, or they're investing in whatever tools that are out there to be able to help generate some more opportunity, that gives me tingles, to be honest with you, because that's ultimately what an agent has to do to be successful, is they have to understand that not everything's going to be given to them, and they have to go out and find their avenue in this business.
Yeah.
Especially now.
Yeah.
Before it was so easy to just get your license and just
I'm a realtor.
throw up
Yeah.
a few, and that was all of us or at some point, right? But it's just not like that anymore. We spend a lot of money on marketing and videos and all the things, and it's not like everyone's just like, hey, we want to work with you. We want to work with you. I mean, it's not as easy as it used to be, where you could just throw up a video, doing a tour of a house, and then you're gonna get a bunch of people wanting to work with you.
Well, I think if we look at what big companies do, and big companies are always looking at where are the eyeballs, and we know the eyeballs are all on social media. And so for somebody who wants to sell their house, like, I would expect that you as a seller would want to get your house on social media, because it would lead to way more eyeballs than other, like, people are not going to just walk by your sign and be like, oh, I see an open house sign, like, let me submit an offer on this house. The things don't really play themselves out like that anymore. um and I think even on the lending side, I'd notice too frequently that newer loan officers are also very similar, where they don't have a structure for who's their target audience of how they want to go after and get those clients. Do they want to work primarily with first time home buyers? Are they wanting to deal with real estate investors? Do they want to do fix and flips? Like, there's so many avenues, because on our end, we have so many different loan programs. I could choose to say, no, I don't want to do down payment assistance, or I'm only going to focus on down payment assistance programs and just be like a super expert in that category. And I also find that when loan officers do the same thing that you guys are mentioning, you also will see success. If you're like, I'm only going to focus on working with real estate investors and nothing else, great. I was talking to this branch manager who's in Danville, and his biggest client base are non-conventional loans. He's like, don't give me anything else that's not a non-conventional loan. And has gotten his team so refined that his average closings are 10 to 15 days, because of the fact that that's the only thing he wants.
Yeah.
And when he goes to his agent partners, he's telling them, just give me these only. Like, I don't want anything else. I was like, great, because that's somebody who knows what they want and knows that they're going to actually get those deals to the
It's all
finish line.
about pipeline, right? Like it probably sucks at first, right? When you don't have much in your pipeline and you're just telling people, I only want non-QM, and you have like one or two people that you're working on. But eventually when you consistently put out that clear message, eventually your pipeline starts getting full, because now more people understand what you're doing, and they just send you more of that business. And so consistency and clarity are just really important.
Yeah.
Putting out the message of what you offer and on a consistent basis, and that's how you train people that are watching you to send you that business.
Yeah. And I think it's important I think it's definitely a business model to stay narrow in terms of
Mm.
like identifying who, like, what, again, to like how you market yourself, right? And then what is the client that's going to resonate with you, and who's going to get you and understand and see value in you? Because that's what, when I'm able to show up in my best and really just kind of change that point in that client's life, because I know that I'm the best suited for them, because this is what I do. I help someone just like you in your position all the time.
Yeah.
And I know how to show up, and I know how to help you navigate. And when you're able to do that, you just build so much more confidence, right? And then you immediately and you're able just to move through that. So when you stay a little bit narrow, now you have to stay too narrow, because that could
Yeah.
be a little dangerous. But when you stay wide, you're not giving things a chance. So when you're staying wide, you have like 6 different business plans that you want to go focus on. I guarantee you that that business plan isn't going to stick for more than 3
That's
months,
fine. Yeah.
and you're on to something else. Because we are the number one sold to industry in the world, there's always a new tool, there's
Yep.
always a new lead generation system, there's no
The new
shortage on this.
CRM, everything.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
like it's always trying to reinvent yourself. So finding what you're passionate about and getting a little narrow, and so you can go deep, that would be what a successful agent today does.
I think that also creates a lot of value alignment for your clients as well as you personally, like from what both of you guys are saying. If you know, like, I only want to service this specific type of clientele, and you've built your business around servicing that type of client, and that client resonates with your values, like that's kind of what people are looking for nowadays on both the real estate or even the mortgage side. Is it has to be somebody who is in alignment with my values, because that's how they get to know you through social media.
And it
Like,
could change too, like for
yeah.
us, like we in the first 5 years of our business, we focused a lot on brand new agents.
Mm,
And a lot of what we built and what we offered was around how do we get a brand new agent into their first transactions and get them going. And now that's started to evolve based because we've been growing, what we've been continuing to add to our arsenal and how we can make our processes and systems better. We're starting to attract an agent that's not so new anymore.
yeah,
And so now it's like, okay, boom, now we're starting to attract a different type of agent. And now we're just changing our messaging just a little bit because we know that we have something that can, support them. And it's all about, do we feel, because I want to feel confident about what we have to give to them. I don't want to be just blowing smoke,
Okay.
and I want to feel confident about what we're giving them. And so when we do and we have it and we can, then now it's changed, it's shifted a little bit. And now we're putting out new messaging to a different level of agent who is actually starting to see value in what we have to offer, which is cool.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Everything evolves, right? You just have to be able to kind of be be smart enough to kind of see that what's happening, right? So you have to slow down enough to be able to speed up back up again. And that's kind of what the market kind of did for us, is that it slowed down. We didn't slow down on purpose, right?
yeah,
But it slowed us down and then just allowed us to really kind of, okay, how are we going to restructure? How are we going to look at our business, right? And so cool. So we did a good job with creating opportunities, but how can we really refine it now and then really like take it to a level where we can like really bring in a different caliber of agent and help them like, get that much better. So they already have that skill set, step up a little bit level and then really build a platform for all levels of agents that can come in and really find value with us.
yeah,
So whether you're, just been licensed for 6 months or you're doing $20 million a year, like there's a home for you at Rise Group, but because of what we were able to slow down and really kind of start learning those processes for all different levels. So that right there that's definitely like being able to adapt and then get narrow on those things, right? Still get tactical. Like we haven't changed anything. We're still all about opportunities,
yeah,
but now we're like tactical about how we can create how can this opportunity be good for that newer agent and that agent who's looking to do larger volume and get them in those areas. So we're more tactical that way. We've grown
nice,
with that. And obviously with our tools and everything too, like just staying up with the times with AI, how can AI just be that much more efficient for our agents? So like in training them on that. So for all levels. So there's a, and so we didn't lose focus. We're still about technology and we're still about opportunities, but now we're just layering it up and just, we're 5 years, 6 years in the business now, together at Rise Group,
of
right?
course,
So we're hitting that stride maybe.
yeah,
Yeah, it definitely wasn't fun, but I can see the silver lining in it now where it's like, okay, like it slowed us down. It allowed us to kind of, clean up some stuff and build a stronger foundation. And then, now we're just building back on top of the
Mhm.
foundation. So,
it's much easier from a scaling standpoint when you've been able to build the foundation. Like,
Mhm.
it's cool that you got to experience a lot of growth in a very short amount of time, because it probably taught you the things that you would have adjusted, but maybe at the time you didn't know. Whereas now, if you're like, I look back on it, I would have maybe fixed one or two things on how we were growing. And you took advantage of the time with, in general, the market being slower, where most agents would probably just put it on cruise control.
Mhm.
Right. And those ones who did put it on cruise control and didn't actually focus on their business or treat it like a business are probably the agents that we're not seeing
Yeah.
anymore
yeah.
today.
And maybe we'll see them again once the, rates go back down. But then they're kind of have to pick, they're gonna have to restart and reinvent
Yeah.
themselves. So for the agents that just kept pushing through, and consistently put out messaging, like they're going to position themselves for a really good career as the market gets more active.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think is the hardest part about developing the different tiers of agents now? Like, if you look at, I mean, you've had experience on both, so I'm sure you have a favorite, but
Mhm.
just looking at them from a pure level of experience, what do you notice? Do you notice something different between them?
I would say it's not the agent, it's us. Like
Mm,
having to slow down and start over and retrain like every single time is really hard. And so build it we had to we've been consistently like trying to build a system where it's like it doesn't feel like we're having to start over with, because you bring on an agent, you train them, you do all the things, then you bring on another agent, and then you basically have to stop and and do it all over again. And so like having to do that, I think, is probably the hardest thing. And so building a system where it's like we don't feel that as much is probably that's what's where we've been really trying to focus on.
Yeah, I think so so basically like with to your question about like now being able to show up for all different levels of agents, right? And so that's something that's our new challenge, right? So that's our new hyper focus is how do I show up for our team leaders? How do we show up for the agent, the solo agent that's doing $15 million a year? And how do I show up for that agent that's just like I just need to get, my first 5 deals under my belt,
Yeah.
right? And so and being consistent, having a plan for all those. And again, too, so building a system to like really automate, so anytime we teach something, we record it. We have a great learning management system that we pop it into now. And our goal right now is to be great at our learning management system. Because if we hyper focus and put all of our energy into that, it won't in a year, it really won't need that amount of energy, because
Yeah.
it'll already be there. And then a training, a learning, or a growth path is already set. And so it's
Nice.
really easy for everybody else to plug in. So when you talk about scaling, right? And so now it gives us that much more confidence to go harder because again, we don't want to not be able to show up for somebody. Like I don't want you to join my team if I feel like you are not going to succeed here because that's going to be more energy drain for me because I'm going to feel guilt. I don't want to
True.
feel that guilt. I don't want to wake up every day and like, man, I can't show up for this agent today because I just don't have that skill set or I'm not ready for him.
Yeah.
So that's what drives us right now is to build those processes. So we are showing up. So I know that we're working towards getting you. So if you bear with me, I'm going to use you as my test case to be able to help us grow this. But trust me, you're going to get my attention and we're going to help you build.
Nice.
So and that's kind of where we're at right now. And so right now we're at like 35, 37 agents. And so, but now we have the confidence level to get to, you know, you know, whatever number, brings us, and so, but just because we have the confidence in that we will build a system and feel confident that we're not going to bring anybody on that we just don't feel confident we can take care of. So
Do you notice a difference on people who you think might be better off as individual producing agents on the team versus those who like want to go through the process of becoming a team leader eventually? I'm sure you guys get both spectrums.
Yeah, I would say it really just depends on what their desire is. Um, a leader, it's interesting what's considered a leader. Like, a leader, you can't just say you're a leader or just say you want to be a leader. Like you have to be worth following.
Mm.
So, and you have to have people that want to follow you, right? And so, you know, it really comes down to just like what people's desire are, and then like, are they set up to be a leader? Have they put in the time to build leadership qualities? And sometimes someone just makes a really good agent, and that's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. Like to be honest,
I
like
envy them.
Yeah.
I do.
like
They don't have the stress I have. I love
if
that.
you
You
could
just
just
go show
focus
home.
on your business, like you
Go
will be
close deals.
it's set up for you to be the most successful as a solo agent with
Yeah.
support around you without having to, have other things that you're focused on in terms of like leading people and doing all that. So it's not a bad thing to
Yeah.
just be a solo agent and focus on that. You will do really, really well. And I see a lot of agents that are doing really, really well just focusing on that. But some people just can't help but lead. They
Yeah.
they wanna lead people. They want to pour into people. And so it's really for us, it's about identifying who's who, and being able to guide them in those ways. And what's great is that again, what the way that we built Rise Group is in a way that we can offer support for both, especially when it comes to team leads. A lot our big one of our biggest goals when it comes to bringing on team leaders is how can we help you run your team or at least give opportunities for your team, because one of the hardest things to do as a team leader is be the rainmaker. And so we want to be able to help alleviate some of that pressure
Yeah.
by bringing some opportunity to your team, while you manage them in terms of like the sales process. And so if we can keep your agents with opportunity and you managing them, it's easy for us to grow your agents and then also recruit more agents because and it gives them the confidence as well because don't, one of the big things that I think a lot of people get nervous about when it comes to starting or growing a team is, am I going to be able to feed my team?
Yeah.
You
And keep
know,
the consistency.
keep the consistency. And so we've built systems and we're continuing to build systems that allow for support around that for team leaders. And as well as at the same time for individual agents, we have the support that allows you to just continue to go out there and crush it and get more listings and look good on your listings and get more opportunities. So,
Mm.
Yeah, like it's we have a kind of like I mean, we don't say this out loud, but like, when I'm talking to an agent who's interested in joining, or if I, ask them to sit down and hear what we're about, there's like kind of like a no ego. Like, I mean,
Mm.
egos are we're in an alpha industry, right? It's like alpha is just who survives in this industry, right? You just have to have that. You can't be timid,
Yeah.
because it's not how you're going to win in this industry. But you can be that alpha without the ego, right? And so like, and I think that's what's important for us is like there's a spot for everybody on the team, but just we got to watch that ego,
Yeah.
because that ego will hurt you, and
Yep.
and it'll hurt the culture of a team. So
it's gonna be
uh,
his Strange's book, Be Alpha Without the Ego. It's gonna be the next book that he's
I
gonna
like
my,
it.
that's my memoir.
Yeah.
You can see that. You can see that. But yeah, I mean, it's just important to be able to control that environment, because that's tough to kind of have to tiptoe around egos and that kind of thing. And so we want to be collaborative, so we can learn. That just enables us, so we have a collaborative spirit. So we're like, our agents are now coming to us with other ideas or things that we need to fix, and in a positive way. How can I help you fix this? I think this is, and so it's that kind of environment that we're kind of going
Yeah.
into right now. So it's that's a cool thing. But not everybody has to be a team leader, right? And so it's about building your processes. So like how, like slow down, you're busy. Cool. You have 3 upcoming listings, you got 2 on the market, you're showing 5 buyers, you're busy.
Yeah.
But what can we help you with in terms of like helping you build a process, right? Like how can you tap into some things that we have, or how can you just slow down? And how can we help you identify how you're getting so much business? It's not that you have to build a team, but maybe you just have to get some assistance,
Yep.
or just have to use some AI. You have to use some technology to be able to help you, navigate more efficiently in the business. So, and that's where like, I think we're like, from a mentorship standpoint, that's how we're able to show up for not only team leaders, but then, the agent is just, is at the cusp of getting really busy or already there, and being able to show up with them in that way.
There's a lot of synergy in what I'm hearing both of you guys say, with one things that we've experienced with growing our team, as well as the development of individual loan officers, and then the loan officer who does want to go become a branch manager or run their own brokerage or whatever the case might be. A lot of it is very similar in the sense that you want to have your own structure, but when you're first starting and you're new, you're like, how can I go get clients? And then when you have clients, you're like, well, now how do I manage my clients? And then when you have too many clients, you're like, well, how can I create processes in place so that I can make sure that everybody is taken care of and I'm not having to say no to business? Like at every phase, I think there's new development curves that come with that, on whether you do want to be leading a team or not, or whether you want to be an individual producing agent. Um, what are some things that helped you guys? I mean, both of you guys are very coachable. You wouldn't be in the position of where you're at today without being coachable. Have you guys had mentors that played a factor in your guys' development to where you're at now? Do you still focus on coaching? Like, what I'm curious what that looks like for both of you,
Yeah.
besides each other, obviously. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I think actually, we do everything we make, you know, first of all, like, yeah, like from each other and how we work together, we're 50-50 partners in this, right? And so, we're able to, we get along, and we run things by each other, like there's certain things that we know that, okay, this is what James takes lead on, and this is what Strange takes lead on. If I'm struggling with a decision, I'm going to him, and vice versa, right? So it's important to have that kind of that synergy. Um, but the original
Yeah,
question.
mentorship. I mean, I've always
Yeah,
had
the
mentors in the
coaching.
business. I had a mentor early on, and it was just, one of the sales managers in my office who was a sales manager, I believe, that in the office for a little bit, and then just continued to like just pour into me, for a long time. And his name's Joseph Pineda. He's my guy. He's still around today, and he really helped me early on in the business. But I came in to the business just like with a, you know, I don't know anything, teach me everything mentality. Like I'll just do whatever you guys are doing. Like just teach me, just tell me what to do, what to say, and I'll say it and I'll do it. And I kind of kept that throughout.
Yeah.
I've done like all the trainings, I've done the ninja courses. I've done Tom Ferry. Currently we're being coached by Shift Immersive Coaching, Phil Gertis.
Mm.
So he's our coach right now, not even just for us, but for the entire team. And so we're blessed to have him as our coach at the moment. But yeah, just always just staying humble enough to continue to just learn and just realize that we're not the, you know, we don't know. I don't know anything. It's like until I get on the stage and someone's asking me to share my secrets with the world and how I did it, at FubCon or Unlock or whatever, like I don't know anything. So I'm just gonna continue to learn. And I am a firm believer though that like you just keep doing what you're doing, keep like building your process, and then eventually it becomes good enough that someone's going to come to you one day and say, "Hey, how did you do this?" Right? And so that's kind of where we're at now. We're just like, okay, like let's just continue to build, let's continue to stay focused, and eventually, maybe someone will come and ask us, "Hey, how'd you do it?" When it catches somebody's radar. But until then, I don't know anything. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
think
great mindset.
yeah. Yeah, I think from like a mentorship perspective, like I think it's important. This gets a little crazy, right? And so I think like from a mentorship, I think we always have to start seeking like we need mentorship in different levels, right? Of like whether it be in real estate, lending, or just in life, right?
Yeah.
And I think that I've had life coach, and that's like, my life coach is probably the most forward moving months of my life that I had when I had my life coach. Right?
Interesting.
And so it wasn't even about real estate. Yeah, it was about real estate. It was about my life and how I balanced and all that and how I show up every day. But that, like we have to take a look at how we make ourselves better. And I think like right now with our current coach right now is a good mixture of real estate, but also life as well too. So I think you should always be seeking that mentor, seeking to put yourself in the right room, seeking to put yourself around the right people.
Yeah.
Because that's the quickest way to grow.
That's a good point too. Like a lot of it has to do, I think a lot of it has to do with more life coaching type of stuff
1,000%.
because it's, we've all came across the grumpy agents.
Mm.
We've all come across the ones that
I would never become that. So far, I don't think I am.
For 25 years.
No, I get it because you deal with a lot of stuff and yeah, but you know, some people are the first interaction is nice and then once a roadblock comes, they blow up. And
Yeah.
it's just like you don't want to be that. You want to be the person that has self-control. You want to be the person that's kind, even through the storm. And so a lot of it has to do with just your self-work that you're doing and um being able to show up in that way goes a really long way more
Agreed.
than just
Yeah.
because you're dealing with people at the end of the day, right? Like the agents that you're dealing with are people, the clients that you're dealing with are people,
The
and
team
you
is
end up,
yeah.
especially as a real estate agent,
Mm.
you end up being a therapist most of the time. So being able to hear people's problems and love them through it, and see past just the way that they react to certain problems, and being
Yeah.
able to support their emotional need at the time without letting it offend you. Those are all skills that we're just not naturally good at, and so those are people develop skills that you have to develop.
Yeah, I think that's like as our team grows and just like it's just more kids, more more just relationships that that kind of come into the mix of things, the spouses, parents, sickness, graduations. It's just that much more just kind of compounds as we grow. But I think it's what's made me feel like really like because we're getting bigger, but the mindset I take in every day is that I just want to make sure that I show up for my agent. So if my agent calls, it's time to pick up that call. I know I'm busy, but they're calling me for a reason.
Of course.
And so just allowing my day to go where it needs to go and have that path and just have the the confidence that my day is going to go this way, because it's taking me this way, and just have the confidence that it's going to get, at the end of the day, what I did today, what I accomplished today is what I needed to accomplish. Right. And so it's a being there and being that servant to my client, my agent, and all that, and my family. And so just allowing that taking that mentality is a hard mentality to take
Yeah.
on a daily basis. And so, but just blindly just allowing that to happen is kind of how, like, James and I are starting to learn how to show up and just know that it's going to be okay. We're going to get things done. Our tasks are still going to get completed, but as long as we show up for who we need to show up for that day. So
yeah, I think leadership holds a pretty enticing title, but it's not always, when you actually are in leadership, it's not as fun and nice as it seems,
Yeah.
because especially in servant leadership, your needs tend to come after. When you're leading people, your needs tend to come after other people's needs. And so if you're a servant leader, and you're leading other people, and they I'm not saying don't care about your needs, but a lot of the time it is, okay, let me put myself, die to myself and serve the people that I'm saying that I signed up to serve.
That's
So
right.
that
Both
can be
your team
challenging.
and clients.
Mhm.
Like no matter what,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, with clear boundaries.
Yeah.
Clear boundaries. You have a family and stuff to support, so you can't let that, fall to the wayside. But in those moments, you did sign up to lead people, which means that you serve them. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to pause for an
Let's
important
hit it.
delivery right now.
No, let's yeah, we have an incoming
There's some
shipment. We're getting into some juice. One of my business coaches, who's phenomenal. He is head of HR's chief people officer for Warner Bros. He said something to me that I have written down and has since stuck with me. But as you guys were talking, it made me think about it. He said you need 3 S's in your life. The first one is a soundboard, which is somebody that you can talk to, that you can bounce ideas off of, and you can just go back and forth. The second person that you need is a sandpaper, somebody who's sandpaper, who basically challenges your ideas, goes against the things that you're saying, and is not afraid to give you their unsolicited 2 cents. And the third one is a sensei, which is somebody who's essentially the mentor, the person who's giving you the guidance, and that's kind of what you guys were referencing right now. I just was piecing it together. Early on in my career, I got exposed to a somewhat of a life coach, I guess, in a way. And as you were talking, Chris, it made me think about them. They are, I see them as like my grandparents. And my previous mentor at the time was being coached by them. There's this couple, they're both psychiatrists and psychologists. They actually traveled with Metallica when Metallica was on tour and kept the band together. And they, at this point now, they get to pick and choose who they want to work with, and they're into their 80s now. But I was able to talk to them because my mentor was working with them, and he eventually brought them in to speak to us. And so they got to meet me before I had even gotten into anything really. I mean, I was a transaction coordinator at the time when I first started talking to them. And then I didn't get to talk to them for a couple years, and I re-engaged back with them. I think maybe at the beginning of last year, if not end of 2024. And they brought me back on as a client, and I've been working with them for, I don't know, a long time now. But it's cool to have been working with them to see what they saw me as before versus what they see me as now. I've even brought them into conversations that we've had with the team. And I think those are probably some of the best meetings that we've had with the team, because it's our life in real estate or in mortgages. It kind of blends into your personal anyways, like no matter what.
Right.
And so you have to be able to control that more than when you're going to go deal with your clients. You can't serve your team, you can't serve your clients if you're not showing up for yourself first.
Absolutely.
Definitely blends in, especially on vacation when you're on the airport.
Everyone knows that you're on vacation, and so then they now have a property that they want you to list for sale. So I mean, I've always said I think that means I need to travel more. If people are always, I'm traveling, then you guys need to call me.
My pipeline's a little slow right now. I think
you haven't caught a trip yet.
That's how it is.
Yeah, maybe you need to go to Italy instead of North Italia for your birthday.
It's true.
That's funny. What is it? Shots? Are we taking shots? Are we? Are we gonna take it? You guys want to warm it up?
I'm not a shot guy. I mean, I could
Sip
I
it.
can sip it if you guys want to.
All right, let's do it.
Sip.
What, do we get Chris one? Coca-Cola with tequila?
I'm a sipper too. I don't know about that. I don't think I need a Coke.
That's okay.
Nah, yeah.
This one's pretty good.
I'm a cheap date nowadays.
We're breaking into Ricky's
We're Ricky's stash.
stash here.
Yeah.
Don't let Ricky see this.
Thank you, brother.
Nah, this is Maestro Dobel Añejo. Looks like it. Cheers. Happy birthday, James.
Birthday.
Salud.
Happy birthday.
I actually like that.
That's good.
Somewhat better than Salud. Than Maestro do Bel Diamante, the clear one. It's probably one of my favorite tequilas.
Just do a commercial break right there.
We had a quick little break in between for today's sponsor, who is the Rice Group Real Estate. They have sponsored today's episode by wanting to get more real estate agents who are looking to grow their business in Northern California. If you're an agent who's actually hungry, if you're an agent who wants to grow, if you're an agent who wants to be a part of a team that's here to see you succeed and not worrying about how much money they're making, then it sounds like you need to have a conversation with the Rise Group Real Estate.
That was really good.
Off the cuff.
Would never be able to do that without a teleprompter.
Yeah, exactly.
With the teleprompter in front of us.
Like, where's my words? That's funny. No, I was like, shit. What do I? It's like
That was really good.
I just kind of winged it.
Our voiceover guy.
Who?
Yeah, to you.
Me, you know what? Maybe I guess those 3 to 4 years of theater in middle school and high school actually helped me with
That's where it came.
all my little monologues. But yeah,
The
No.
theater guys are, those are this.
nobody would have said I was a nerd in middle school and high school. I was an absolute nerd. I was
Kinda
actually
nerd.
what kind of a nerd?
Yeah.
Like not like a smelly, like ugly, like weirdo. I was like, I wasn't. I was probably at the time. Yeah, I was like, didn't give a shit about what I was wearing for clothes. Like I had no hairstyle, like nothing. I was a computer guy. Played video games all the time.
We need to get a picture up over here.
Yeah, trust me, this guy is the one who has them. That's yeah. No, I was like,
Like a gamer kid.
yeah, I was a gamer kid like me. Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Pokemon cards. One of my friends recently got me back into Pokemon cards, and I'm like, I need to go find my stash.
Yeah, I have a bunch still, and everyone keeps telling they're worth some money, and I'm like, been wanting to go through them because
I'm gonna send you guys a picture. I just got one from a pack. It's a $10,000 worth. It's worth $10,000. It's a Charizard card, and it's worth 10 grand.
I
which
might
is
have some of those.
insane.
I gotta go find.
We gotta,
my
yeah.
stash.
You guys can do a reveal.
Yeah.
Where you guys can break out your old.
That's our next.
Well, no,
break.
I was
Keep on
talking about it
boxing.
when we got here because our guy behind here actually has them on his desk. He has like some like very high. They're pretty cool, but very random. No, and like I was gonna study computer science in college. Like I was not planning on getting into real estate. I don't think people will get into it and be like, I want to be a realtor, but I don't think anybody says I want to be a loan officer. Like I want to do mortgages and banking.
That's
Like
it's.
yeah, I don't exactly. It's like I want to be a banker, but people will say banker, but it's because they're like, I want to be suited up. I want to go actually show up to the bank. I want to work for like Charles Schwab or Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs. But it's like, I think it's different because I don't see people now. I think the industry in general is changing. We're going towards everything social media and everything is going online, and you have to find ways that people aligned with you for you who you are in order to want to work with you.
And how was that time for you? Like, I mean, it was pretty rough for us. Like, was it still rough for you as well? Like during 23, 24, and
I mean, specifically for what we were doing in California, it dropped a lot because at the time I was running a very small team. We had our real estate team that we were partnered with, that we were doing a lot of deals with in NorCal and in SoCal. As of today, that team's completely been disbanded. So like the real estate team was not able to hold on of actually being able to service the clients that we were working with in California because we were working with so many first-time investors who were also first-time home buyers. So they bought all the multifamily real estate in the East Bay. And now it's selling for $500K more. And interest rates are so much higher that you can't really cash flow and you can't even live in one unit and have your whole mortgage paid for anymore. I personally have gone through over 120 deals that I analyzed in the East Bay before I finally got my own offer accepted on a property where the numbers made sense for what I was looking for. It took 120 deals that I personally underwrote. Now it's because like I also have my real estate license in California, so I would check confidential remarks and I can find all of the the rental income that the property is generating and running all my numbers as an investor and looking at it from that lens. Very hard to find.
yeah.
And so I feel like that dried up for the buyer pool of who we were working with. And because I pivoted to doing a lot of non-conventional loans before people started talking about what is a DSCR loan or what's a non-conventional loan? Oh, you can buy a loan, you can buy a property with no taxes. Like that was not something that people were exposed to at the time. And I feel that we got ahead of it by also servicing places outside of California. Because by the end of 2023, we were licensed in 38 states. Now, granted, I would say that my volume decreased from people that we were working with for first time home buyers 100%. Like it shifted to probably 80% investors that we're working with. Now it's a little bit of both. Like there's still some markets where you can find properties that people will move into. But we still work with a lot of real estate investors to this day. And I had to find ways that we could have a competitive edge because my team continued to grow. I was bringing in more people. And like you said, it's hard being the person who's the rainmaker, who's bringing in all the business that can help the realtors or the loan officers close more deals. So I had to get creative with what are the ways that I can find people that I align with, that I can create more partnerships with, that I can provide the good service that we want to provide to those clients. And where is that true value alignment? And similar to what you guys were explaining, I also went through a period of time last year where all I was focusing on was the foundation. The work that I did with my personal coach has been all on the foundation because I had a lot of success very early on and then had it go away and find ways to have to bring it back. And so very almost identical situation to what you guys were describing. The only difference was that I had the luxury of being able to go outside of California to help people in other markets. Yeah. Because if I was only a licensed loan officer in the state of California, that would have been very difficult.
Yeah.
But you make that sound easy. I mean, now you're geographically speaking, now your marketing has to reach that much further. There's that many more conversations you have to go through. So it's not that easy.
It's hard being in multiple markets in general. I think it's hard being in multiple markets. I have my sweet spots of markets that I really like. I don't think you'll find me in Louisville, Kentucky, talking about a real estate event. Or, I mean, I have partners there. I mean, I mentioned it because I have one lady who's actually crushing it. She crushes it in Louisville. But it's like, I'm not going to go there to try to be boots on the ground talking to people there. I would rather leave that to the local lenders.
Yeah. So what did you do to like break in, I guess, to the like a Miami market, or like what was your strategy to break into those markets?
A lot of it stemmed from what my clients were already looking for. Atlanta, Georgia, and the state of Georgia specifically is like one of our top 5 markets that we fund the most loads in. Florida is actually our number 1 state. Georgia is one of the top 5. I'd have to see where it is now. But it was just because it was a very well-versed market. People bought there for primary residences. Tech companies were moving to Atlanta. There was a lot of real estate development. Airbnbs were popping off like crazy. They had no restrictions. They were allowing it in almost every market, every actual market in Georgia. And long-term rentals still worked. People would still buy 3 or 4 units, spend $100K on renovations, and then turn it into a long-term rental, and they're still cash flowing $1,000 or $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
So like that was kind of, I guess, where I was noticing some favoritism on my part of like, I would even recommend those markets to people because I now have a really good bird's eye view. I get to see where are all my investors going? What are they actually investing in? And then when someone calls me and they're like, well, Ricardo, like this is my first property. I don't want to buy a property where I live because I'm happy where I'm renting, but I want to buy an investment property. I don't want to just leave my money sitting in the bank. Like, where should I go? I'm like, okay, well, let's just do a little bit of discovery. What kind of deals do you like? Do you want something that's more hands-on, like a short-term rental? Are you wanting to just hire a property manager and just bake that into your cost and make sure that you're good to go? Do you want to deal with Section 8? Like, are you wanting to do a fix and flip project? Because all of those things are what could make or break a deal in a specific market.
Yeah. So sounds like you had the knowledge, you did the research so that you could sway people and you weren't scared. I think one of the things for me at least is like it seems intimidating to invest in other states just because it feels so removed. And so it seems like you never, maybe I shouldn't say never, but long as I've known you, you weren't shy to invest in other markets.
Yeah.
So because you did you did it yourself, you could speak with confidence to somebody and say, "Hey, I did it. You can do it. It's not that scary."
Yeah.
The water's warm, come in, type of thing.
Well, my first deal, I don't think that I would have had the balls to buy it out of state. I mean, I bought my first property in Stockton. So it was like I was within an hour driving distance. I had control over it. All of the real estate that my parents had with me growing up that we took care of was all within a 30-minute distance. So it's like they also very similar. It's like I want to make sure that I can see it. I can put my eyes on it. I can drive by it if I want to make sure my tenants aren't doing anything crazy. Like some people are like that. other people or end up seeing that I can do everything online. I have the confidence in my team, or I have the boots on the ground who are physically in that location, or my handyman that I can call at any time, or my cleaner who always tells me and sends me updates about certain things. I think that's why my second property, I was like, let's just do it. We'll figure it out. If something goes wrong, we'll take care of it afterwards. I was always a very shoot from the hip kind of person, which is why I ended up pulling the trigger on my second property. I mean, I bought it. It's a 7-hour flight, almost 6-hour flight to get to Miami. It's like complete opposite end of where we are on the U.S. map.
Right. Yeah. So that's cool. So that's how you were able to break into those markets, because you had done it, and so you could kind of lean or
And they had the confidence, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think your tone in that, it just gives me the utmost confidence. All right.
You're making me
Want
want
money.
to give you money right now.
Well, the thing is too was like a lot of our investors were from bigger pockets, and they were in people who were even living outside of the US. So I was already even getting confidence before I even bought, because I had people who were already doing it. And so I got to just see it on such a repeated basis. It's like if you guys have your clients here in the Bay Area who you see do successful after successful after successful fix and flip project, and they're making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 per project, you're gonna be like, well, this is doable. Why don't I just do the same thing myself?
Yeah.
And that was kind of what I was exposed to. It was like I saw these people who were already buying real estate in other states, and I'm like, well, I don't have to stay here in California if I want to go buy something in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Right? I don't, because here's a list of people who've already done it and who've been successful.
Yeah. And you knew the areas, and you're already privy to some of that information already. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. And then all I needed to do was, how can I build more resources for the people who are coming to me who want to do these things, so that I can make it more full service? And it's like, for you guys, similar to agents, how can I make it so that it's full service for the agent when they're delivering to their client? Well, do they have the right partners that they're recommending? Or do they have the right contractors that they're recommending? The title companies, the insurance agents, there's a whole list, because everything, it kind of comes back to real estate in one fashion or another. So it never hurts you to know the local appraisers in your market, or to know a roofing contractor who's going to give it to you for a third of the price of everybody else. Those are the things that gives you the competitive edge, because then when people are talking about you, it's like, well, my agent recommended me to everybody, and they all hooked me up on everything that I did. So they made it a lot easier for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah. We always kind of toy around. We're like, okay, we're like, where's next? Well, we don't really toy around because I think we don't have the confidence. We don't talk confident like you, but moving markets is it's a big decision. Not moving markets, but expanding your markets, right? Your reach and that. So, but yeah, that's
I also didn't have any exposure to the flip side of it. I didn't know any local lenders who were successful in their own business in my age range, and who weren't already working for like a Chase Bank. Because even when I was in banking, the only people that I knew who were doing mortgages were 2 to 3 times my age, and were coming into the branch maybe once a week. Like, it was just, I didn't really have exposure either. The only exposure that I did have was to people who were just doing everything online. So naturally, I think I kind of just progressed towards that, because people would always ask me, they're like, "Oh, well, where's your office?" I'm like, "Well, I don't have an office. I just work from my house." I'm like, I'm fully remote, but I have my team that does deals nationwide, and we have the resources and we have everything. That was just, I don't know, it just kind of snowballed in that direction.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
You have your demographic for sure, right? Like who can gravitate to you, and that's awesome. And once you find that, it gives you that confidence to really just kind of compound on that, right? And take those steps, and knowing who you need to show up for, right? That's your calling, right? Is give me the hard stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And also to show other loan officers, I think that it's more than doable. Like, one of my biggest things with the company that I'm with now is I've worked with them, with our leadership team a lot on recruiting, because there's every big mortgage company of our size that's doing, multiple hundreds of millions of dollars per month. They're all dinosaurs. They all move at a snail's pace. They are not caught up with the times. And they're not doing what these companies like Real Brokerage and Side Brokerage and these other big, tech companies that are wanting to be more tech forward. They're not doing those things, because banks, I always tell some of my clients, banks move at a snail's pace. And the bigger that the bank is, the slower that they're going to move. So they're not flexible. And I think that our leadership team sees things differently. We have had the most amount of growth that we've had in a 6-month period of time than we've had in the inception of the company, simply because of the vision, I think, behind the leadership team. December was our biggest month. We did $300 million in loans funding across all 50 states, Florida still being our number one state. And for the month of March this year, 3 months later, we did $492 million.
Wow.
So almost 200 million more, passing our previous highest best month in just 3 months because of the amazing people that we've brought.
And are you still working with a lot of investors?
Mm-hmm.
So what are you seeing from the investors? Where are they going? Like similarly to how you kind of broke into different markets, are they still doing the same things, or where are they going now?
Yeah, I had a lot of people leave Florida. A lot of people left Florida last year after the hurricanes. That I think that just, I don't blame them. It's like if we had a massive earthquake here in California. I mean, it's the same thing. How many people would leave California if we had a massive earthquake?
Right. Or like the fires and stuff.
100%, which also happened, right? I mean, that happened in SoCal, right? So it's like, that's the things like that move people out of markets. Insurance has also not been helpful. I mean, insurance in California and Florida is insane. Like, I have a client who is paying $25,000 a year on his wind policy in Florida just because he's in the hurricane area and his property was only $700K.
Wow.
Like, why are you paying for a $20,000 a year policy? It makes no sense. So a lot of people from an investor standpoint left Florida. They went more north on the East Coast, still on the East Coast. I've done a lot more Northeast deals. We've been doing way more Virginias, way more Pennsylvania, North and South Carolina, going crazy. Tennessee is still a really hot market, just harder for short-term rentals. It was probably one of the most beat up. Ohio, very popular still for a lot of Airbnbs. Even some parts of Texas, Georgia, Arizona, I think when you get closer to the West Coast. But what I did notice, I would say that's probably the most common across all investors, was mainly mountain markets. Peace and quiet outside of like a city style Airbnb of what people were looking for. I think that was really popular a couple years ago. And then I think post-COVID, of people wanting to travel shifted to, I want to be in the middle of nowhere in nature with no Wi-Fi and nobody bother me, but give me a hot tub. Like that was what people were wanting. So, and that's kind of the resounding theme that I picked up.
Like short-term rental.
Yeah.
I see. Makes sense. Yeah. That's good.
And there's a lot of different markets that works in. When we look at California real estate, I would say that the thing that I have noticed with my investors from California is, and we kind of talked about you guys have probably heard me say this, but most California people either leave, they take their money, they buy their primary residence here, they take their money to the East Coast, or they take it to another state to go buy investment properties. In the future, they typically end up selling that real estate. They consolidate it through a 1031 exchange, and they bring it back to California for commercial real estate. So I had people who would own, a $1 or $2 million primary residence. They have multiple properties that they own somewhere else. They sell it. They get the 1031 money. Now they don't want to pay taxes on it. So where do I redeploy it? And they typically end up buying something that's commercial here.
What kind of commercial?
Whether
office or
your retail centers, could be retail centers, could be warehouses. One of the things that's probably the most popular right now is flex spaces. I mean, kind of think about like what we're in, right? I mean, people would utilize this. I don't think there's a massive need for offices as much as there was before.
Right.
We've seen a lot with commercial real estate. So that's probably what I have noticed the most.
Nice.
If you were to create your own flex space, like what would that look like? Like what would you?
All social
what
media.
kind of all social?
Everything would be geared towards social media. I think people doing TikTok shop, if you've seen people on TikTok shop on live where they're live selling you, that's massive. Streaming, I mean, people have loved the streaming. These are the things that even for me, I'm looking at people who are younger than me and I'm like, I don't get it, but okay, like sure, right? This is it works to a certain extent. But it all comes back to where are the eyeballs and what's the attention span. So I like to just follow what I already see the big companies that are doing. And big company, they're going to go sell on TikTok shop on live. Think about somebody who just has one little corner and you just do a little backdrop. You have your iPhone, you have your tripod, you pop up on live, you have really good Wi-Fi. Now you have a little corner in a space and you could put 4 people in here who are all talking if you just separate it with one wall. Like I think I've even seen some spaces where people walk in and there's just like pods of TikTok shop on live, each one random stuff
Yeah.
like dude wipes is the one that comes to mind for me. Well, them selling on TikTok shop. What's another one? Do you have one that you think of? There's so, I mean, that's why I'm like, I see that as one thing for commercial. Because I could see a TikTok shop person renting out that space for a couple $1,000s a month, and now they just use that corner whenever they want to.
Yeah. 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 That's yeah, it's definitely
Yeah. Are you still on social? You're still doing social media pretty heavy. Where are you focusing a lot of your social media? Is it
The ma-
Instagram? Is it TikTok? Is
y-
it
good
YouTube?
question. The majority has been YouTube and Instagram. Um, I think all of the social platforms like TikTok and Snapchat. I mean, some people even use Snapchat now for ads too, as well as Instagram and YouTube Shorts, Facebook as well. Anything that has the scrolling where you could post shorts for scrolling. All of that is just to get somebody's attention to come to you. Once they come to your page, you want to lead them to something else like a YouTube, because if you can get their attention to go longer and you take them to YouTube, you're going to lead to more conversion. The people who you guys have probably closed the easiest have been some people who you've probably talked to the most or who got the most value from you in a very short amount of time. Because I've had some 15 to 30-minute long phone calls with clients, and maybe I only have 2 conversations with them that were really meaningful for them, but they got a lot of value out of it, and that led to the sale. But it's because they were able to get some sort of value from it, and I don't think people can get as much value as quickly as we think through short form content anymore.
Do you change the voice of the content from IG to when you go to YouTube? Like,
Yeah.
do you keep it short, and quick, and punchy, and then you drop the education on them in YouTube, or
I have spent a lot of money on like coaching for social media with different consultants, automations people that I've brought in, and to just like learn it myself over time. Now more ads and other stuff, and I think it's all trial and error. It's always changing, like literally every day. It's always changing. The second thing is creating a structure to how you want to have people come in. And so we've talked about this a lot, where it's all top, middle, or bottom of funnel content. So if you think about it as like a funnel, and the goal is to push people down the funnel all the way to the finish line, well, the further that you go down the funnel, the more important the information becomes. So if you're wanting to capture people who are at a top of funnel, then your goal is to be as generic and as broad as you can be to push as many people in. So for me, on some of our short form platforms, I'll talk a lot about generic wealth building that I see my clients doing. I'll talk about taxes. I talk about banking. I talk about high yield savings accounts. I talk
sexy conversation.
boring. It's boring, right? But I'm such a numbers person. So for me, whatever. I like geek out about it. But that would be all considered top of funnel content. If you're a realtor and you're talking about it, then it would be like branding. You would talk about branding. You would talk about what are the things that you personally like. Like for me, I'm big on cars, so I'm always talking about cars. Are always included in my stuff. That's very top of funnel. When I move people more down my funnel, it's like, here's some different loan programs. Like here's what is more niched. This is specific to me. I do this because I specialize in working with real estate investors, or these are some programs that only exist within the relationships that I have. And then when someone comes even further down, it's like, here's our actual loan application process. This is what a client journey looks like for somebody who works with RC lending, or this is what the journey actually looks like for a realtor partner of ours or a strategic partner, whatever it is. But that pushes them more down the funnel. And then at every stage, they're just getting more and more involved in you and your personal brand and the value alignment. That eventually leads to the sale. It's because our sales cycle, if we really look at it, is long. It's like some people are 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
So how do you give them enough value over time so that by the end of the 6 to 12 months, they're actually wanting to work with you personally, even though maybe they have a family member who is a real estate agent. I think that's the highest compliment is, I didn't work with my family member. I worked with you because of your skill set.
Yeah.
So the just kind of the knowledge you just dropped on us right there. Like, who are you usually giving that that knowledge to? Are you giving it to like a regular agent? Are you giving it to like a team owners like us? Are you giving it to like, like who are you giving that? Because you just dropped a lot. And that's like a lot of just like, it feels like talking to an agent who's trying to like show homes or, you know, like get people chasing down like documentation for their loans. And that's a lot of work you just told me I had to do.
It's a shit ton. Yeah. Yeah, it is. So you're saying how would I package it, or who would I be delivering this?
How does like just the normal like loan officer, the normal agent, like, you know, start making some impact with social? Like, how do you like, because obviously you got to build the foundation. You got to, first of all, you got to get in front of the camera, right?
Yeah.
You got to get used to that, right? But then
strategy.
Then how do you, like, how do you like build off of that?
I tell this to my loan officers because my entire marketing department now that we've built out is working with every single one of my loan officers, and I'm using them as test cases because I have some loan officers who had never been behind a camera up until the moment that we're like, you're doing 30 videos and you're on call with this guy. So like,
clients have never seen them.
Yeah, they're like, what am I even going to talk about? And now I think we're 4 months in, maybe. I was very new, but what I've noticed is now they're in competition with each other of who's going to put out a better video or who's going to have a more viral video. I'm jumping in the competition with them on what we're doing for social media. And then I've just given them the support of what they needed. Like, we have the video editing team who turns the videos around to get them back to the loan officers. We have the auto posting platforms that they can get their stuff so that the videos still go out, because it's a lot. Not only we're talking about everything that we just mentioned branding wise, but now you also have to go record all those videos. You have to script your videos if you want to script them, or at least try to wing it if you can figure it out, right? Then once you have it all, how are you even going to learn how to edit most video? I don't know. I have no clue how to video edit it.
And even if you do, it takes a lot of time. It takes time, right? So there's time involved as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then post and then run ads behind it, because I think running ads is probably just as important too, and
100%.
how to set up those ads. And I just recently started doing that with our social media team, and you know, it's gotten me a lot more views. It's gotten me like 200-300 followers in a couple months.
Yeah.
And this was stuff that I just didn't have time to do before.
That's right. Yeah. And you force yourself to make time, because one of the resounding things that we're all saying is that in today's real estate new market, especially in California, if you aren't marketing, if you're not on social media, and if you're not getting people to be on your page for eyeballs, then you're not going to be closing deals, because that is where everyone's eyeballs are going. At some point, people are going to put on a set of goggles and they're going to 3D walk a property. That's very likely. Like, I would do that
next year.
And I would probably buy a house off of doing a 3D walkthrough. In Miami, the new condo building that I'm under contract that's still being worked on, even since the last time that we did our podcast, they did a 3D walkthrough tour with me on a VR headset. I went to a random warehouse in the middle of nowhere. I put on the headset, and they literally just walked me around the whole thing to show me what the property was going to look like when it was done being built.
Oh,
and
so you actually walked?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like I think about like a space like maybe 5 times the size of this, like a huge warehouse, completely empty. The only thing was that on one wall there was 4 guys lined up with dual monitors, massive 49-inch monitors, top and bottom, like 10K each setup with the big PC, and they're running the whole thing. And then there's like, stand right here, put on your headset. Now we're going to walk you through the entire thing. Dude, and it's me and the sales associate.
Can you smell the ocean?
No.
Spraying the ocean.
No wind, no nothing.
Imagine bringing our clients into our office and they like stepping into a room and say, okay, we're taking a look at these 5 properties today. All right, strap on the headset.
Saves time.
No, we're driving.
All right, we're getting a warehouse.
Yeah,
we'll be right next to the TikTok guy,
right,
selling dude wipes.
But that's what I'm saying, is that's very likely going to be the future. It's just that people either choose to adapt it or they choose to fight against it.
I think that's like the epitome of just like that. You have to adapt. I went to a conference, a real estate conference, I think it was last year sometime, and every breakout was AI.
Yeah.
AI. There was a 20-year-old dude talking to AI, and there was an 80-year-old lady talking about AI, like on the stage, right? And like, it's like, you just have to adapt. You just have to, like, if you're not adapting, then you're just not efficient.
Yeah.
You know? So it's crazy. But yeah. But I think when it comes to like, I think social media is very intimidating. Not the getting on camera, not like doing the script, but like really like putting money behind it and knowing, and the trial and error and having the patience to do that. Like, who would you recommend take partner with? Yeah. Like who out there? Like, I mean, so we have media teams out there. We have marketing managers out there, but like, who like is like kind of like this one-stop shop where you can kind of get everything. Like,
Yeah.
is there a lot of those folks out there, right? Because I feel like when it comes to the either you're great at capturing, great content, but then you're not, then you put it on, you're not taking it anywhere, or
Yeah.
vice versa, right? And so
It's hard to find good talent. I think with anything, especially as I'm sure you guys have noticed in growing your team, is like good talent is very hard to come by. And when you do have somebody, like, okay, then pay them above normal because you want to keep them. Like, you don't want them to go off anywhere else. I have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to coaches for consulting, as well as third-party outside media teams. Everything always brought me back to I need to just do it all in house. I've tried multiple. In fact, I was probably spending even more money with outside media teams until I finally brought everybody in house, and then our output is just so much higher. I'm not worrying about them having to deal with other clients that they're dealing with. Marketing agencies got so big with kids in terms of being like, you can be 18 and you can go start a marketing agency and let me go pitch these people AI, let me go pitch these business owners AI or whatever. And that they are just not doing a good job on fulfillment because of expertise. And so I ended up kind of adapting the Alex Hormozy approach, which was just like, let me go pay for these consultants so that my personal internal team could learn how to do those things, and then I won't need them in the future. Which is really that was essentially the model that I had approached, which is why I've gone through multiple consultants, and I don't get me wrong, I learned a lot from the consultants, but I don't think that I ever saw as much value until I finally brought everybody internal.
Yeah, it's a little bit more upfront. I mean, obviously an upfront investment, right? And so where you're committed, right? But,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're able to kind of lead it where you need to lead it, right? And I think it's important to like bring your media team in on what your plan is, right? Because they're the creative, right? They're the ones who need to understand how I need to bring this to life, right? And so that's one thing that we've learned with our media team is that bring them in on the meetings, like let them know where we're going. Like they do a great job of asking us questions of like, okay, what does this mean? What does this feel like? Okay, so if we, what are our 90 days from now, what are we focusing on, right? And so then they can kind of prepare those thoughts and lead us to that way with the content, and so
well, even and going back to what you were originally saying too on newer agents or even newer loan officers, because the thing is the same. It's like a lot of them are just afraid to post content. And the first thing I would say is just post content. I wish that I would have documented my process from going to not knowing a single thing to where I am today. And I wish I would have documented that process by just recording random videos, like not even caring if it's edited or not, post it on TikTok, post it on Instagram. What people are going after are people that they feel that they can align with, and they get that alignment through your authenticity that comes across on your platform and what you're posting. So the only way that they could get that is if they have a truly unfiltered version of you, as if they were on FaceTime with you. So if you're positioning all of your videos that way, that's why those people will pop off. If you've seen on social media, on some realtors, for example, on social media, who've really taken parts of social media by a chokehold are like the ones who are unfiltered. There's one, I forget her name, but she went crazy in Florida for like cussing in every video. I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about, but she went crazy on realtor on platforms for that reason. But that was because she was unhinged and unfiltered, and that's truly her.
The most recent one that I saw was that dude that sells like life insurance. That's always like listening to music before, and then he pauses it, and then he calls, and they hang up on him.
Giuliano Mazzarelli. Yeah. And for him, like he's now built a life insurance team, but as he's building them out, getting people to recruit because that's what he wants to do. And now he's building out his whole business all directly through social media because he was unhinged and he was authentically himself.
Yeah, I saw an interview with him. He was saying he stopped even trying to sell life insurance because he realized how much more attention he was just getting just by just acting wild,
being crazy.
Yeah, pretty funny. But yeah, just posting. I know one of our agents, he posts, his wife just with the iPhone and follows him around and just real quick and posts on TikTok, and it's crazy how much like not just views, but engagement he's getting. And we're like, dude, just do that more.
Yeah.
Just do more.
Yeah, he just got a contract last night on
look at that
TikTok. Yeah.
From TikTok.
Yeah, he's closed multiple deals with TikTok. Yeah.
You get people to go from TikTok on FaceTime with you. That's the idea. This is at least what I've seen. people are on TikTok with you. They feel that they're connected to you, but you wouldn't necessarily close somebody directly from a TikTok video. Like, I'm not going to post a video and expect that somebody's going to buy my ticket item or whatever. They would take them from TikTok to go to Instagram for more social proof from you. And then if you take it a step further by taking them from Instagram to taking them to your YouTube, or collecting their email, or collecting a phone number, or a DM, or some sort of automation that's in that process where they're getting some free thing from you, along the way, you're just giving them a bunch of breadcrumbs. And it's just leading them to the long-term thing, which is your formats on video, on long-form video. Because if you can get their attention for 30 minutes to sit on a video of you watching them, that means that they're really invested. And for me, one of the things that has worked phenomenally is a couple of months ago, I think we're almost a full year, if not maybe right around it, was a deal of the week breakdown video that I started doing. And it was because I was realizing clients who, like we were talking about earlier, live in California but want to buy in Florida, maybe they would want to talk to a real estate investor who's already done the same thing if they live in California and they want to buy in Florida. So why not give them that feedback that they can see that those are true things that are happening? And so I just started doing one closing. I mean, we've had thousands of closings, but I just pulled one unique one every single time. And I'm like, let me just talk about it for 10 minutes and send it out to my clients. It's been one of the best revenue generating activities for us, because all I'm doing is pushing my clients to saying, here's what's already working. Here's what we're already doing. And this is a real deal with real numbers, about real people, about real clients.
Wow.
Yeah. Storytelling.
Storytelling.
Yeah. Storytelling, testimony. Like, James does a good job at taking his on the market listings, his sold welcome home videos, is just like whatever content he's putting out, and puts it in email form too. So it hits him in a different format too. And so
our coach says branding is the way that branding is being able to make someone feel how it feels to work with you before they work with you.
Facts.
Yeah.
That's the name of the game.
Yeah.
That's where we're headed. So I might as well embrace it.
Yeah. That's dope.
Absolutely.
Well, I got a lot out of this.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have any more questions?
No, I think we're good. Let's do a wrap up.
Yeah, I got a lot out of this. So
Yeah.
I know we went all over the place. We talked about all things real estate. We talked about new markets. We talked about what's working and what's not working, how to grow, how not to grow, what things to avoid, and also a lot of social media gems that we dropped towards the end. So if you guys stuck through this long, first of all, I'm proud of you guys because keeping your attention for that long was hard, and it's not an easy task. But I appreciate you guys both jumping on. I know this was a lot of fun for me. I haven't done this in a while. And it's always fun to just talk about things real estate, what's working.
Yeah, this is awesome. And it's time for more of these. So thanks for having us.
Of course. Why don't we tell them where people can find you guys?
Where can they find us? So on Instagram, you can find us at hello.risegroup. On YouTube as well, hello.risegroup, or you could just type in Rise Group Real Estate on YouTube. You'll find us. You could find me on YouTube, James Quintero, Realtor. You could find Chris Strange on YouTube
at The Strange Agent.
The Strange Agent. You can follow us both on there and on Instagram, Sold by JQ and
The Strange Agent.
Also, I'm on TikTok, so you can find me on there as well.
The Strange Agent.
I love it.
I can't remember the passwords, let alone my.
And you can visit us at risegroup.com as well, and you can see us on Google My Business. So Rise Group Real Estate, you can find us on all platforms.
Let's do it. Well, it was a pleasure having you guys on. Thank you guys for doing the first California podcast that we did. Clear to close podcast. That's it.
Button.
Our favorite 3 words. That's it. We don't want to see anything else. If you guys stuck around this long, please make sure you like and subscribe the video. We will see you guys on the next Clear to Close podcast.
Yeah, I fucked up too. I'm better fuck on a friend and attend it all GT cool.